All right. Hello and welcome to Friday Musings for the Joker Tower. Anyway, sorry, I have to remember all of where we're at. Yeah, so I started this new playlist. The last one was getting kind of cumbersome, and I wanted to kind of make a divide. Like, these are like the different phases of projects and planning, while also kind of giving some coherence and blah, 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 and all that. Sorry, I feel like Rick and Morty when Rick turns to the camera and explains like some behind the scenes stuff and like breaks the fourth wall and talks to like the audience, be like, hey, this is what's happening. We'll see you next one, or never get canceled, or whatever, and all this. And Rick and Morty, 1,000 seasons, and all this. And, oh, man, I need to check out the new ones, by the way. That might be a thing. So I'm off today. It's vacation, and my kiddos are with my co-parents. So it is a day full of work and fun and enjoying Colorado life, Colorado living. So no mushies, though. I don't think I'll be doing that a whole lot as I'm getting older. That was definitely fun when I was younger. That's why I'm definitely, and that's what I'm working on right now is those hippie farms or happy house. And I was just cracking up because I realized accidentally I might be, what's the opposite of whitewashing? Rainbow, not rainbow. See, rainbow's not much, and unfortunately, and brown, which the unfortunate state of colors are the mixture of, or brown is the mixture result of a lot of colors together, brown and black. Like it gets darker and darker as like they blend. Um, and honestly, I'm still in favor of like instead of like brown, black people, like dark skinned, medium skinned, light skinned, whatever, like making a range, like kind of like how metrics makes a lot of sense. But we know we don't talk about that here in America. But actually, in Colorado, I worked at a place, Vestas. They built wind turbine blades, or I did, they do. And they do everything in metrics. So, and I did that during the pandemic. I was actually laid off from an IT job. And so, like, just out of random, I had a buddy working over there on the night shift, and it was the worst shift too, because it was the weekend. It was Friday night, Saturday night. You're working, you're sober, and to make it even worse, I was a crane operator. So, and like everybody was randomly tested, like at will. Like, I mean, if they thought you were under the influence of a substance, or like legal or otherwise too. Like, I mean, you would declare the medications, and that always, amazed me. And we'll get back to the whitewashing or the anti-whitewashing, but basically, Heil Hitler is the 88 precepts in the happy house. So that's the accidental. I didn't mean for that to happen, and I mean no disrespect to any of that, but like no applause either. I mean, that's why I have a gigantic Wu-Tang tattoo on my leg, is because I was tired of being confused for, a white supremacist gangster, like, and gangster in general too. Like, I mean, as I was part of a group or whatever you want to call it, we definitely did not do things like shoot people, steal from people. Like, we sold weed and hacky sacked and like consumed substances. Like, that was about the gist of it. Like, we were about the most harmless gang ever. So, and I'm a big fan of Wu-Tang. Like, that was like my favorite music growing up. I mean, right up there with Snoop Dogg. And I might do some Fortnite episodes today just because, like, I did buy the Snoop Dogg thing in honor of him. I know he gets a kickback out of every time that happens. I went to his YouTube, started liking his videos, started commenting, not too overly, and that's why I'm kind of taking a break. But while I was working on that document for the Happy House Farms, I was listening to some of Snoop Dogg's more recent stuff and Death Row in general. So Death Row Records, I used to listen to some of that. I never actually bought a CD myself. And the thing was, is like we were a bunch of poor rednecks up in the mountains. Like, we didn't really have a lot of money, and we worked for everything. And like I did buy like a couple Bone Thugs and Harmony CDs, a couple Snoop Dogg CDs, and then my buddies would buy some other ones. Like, between my group and my friends and I, we purchased many Cypress Hill, many Snoop Dogg, many Tech Nine, many just about every hip hop, Outkast. Like, one of us bought that, and then we'd burn it for the good of the group, and we'd all have the music, but like at least one of us, and we would constantly get it stolen, or like, like people do hood rat things all the time, like steal entire books of CDs out of each other's cars. And then I remember in this one place I was at, a residential facility, this guy sold me like these stacks of CDs. I liked the guy, and I was trying to just like give him money without making it be like a charity thing, like give him some dignity and respect. And so I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy these CDs from you." And he was tweaking hard, like he was needing some like, yeah, oof. It wasn't my place to judge. Like, we're all going through things, and so And as I keep building these layers of this farm, I run into this problem. I don't have enough space to actually do a full cycle of this whole thing. Like the top layer is now almost purely abundance. That's fine. Rather more than under. We'll just saturate this for a bit. So, but anyways, that's what I've been doing so far today. The Joker Tower is looking good. Um, it's still gonna do the ofrendas. I know I missed Dia de los Muertos, but like the map that got basically erased, it was corrupted and deleted. Well, that one, I put a lot of effort and built a whole temple, like did a whole bunch of like a library, and it did not persist. Like the videos are up there, it's the two taboos and like all that, but now we have this new place. And I'll build the Joker Tower, and just like, that other one, this one might be destroyed at some point too. I'd like to upload it for people to download, and then have, like, once I get to a point where, like, all the projects and stuff are written, and I also have a code pen. Oh, I need to put that in the description of my YouTube channel, but basically I have a code pen with all of my brainstorm of ideas that I'm, like, wanting to work on, currently working on, have looked into, and it ranges everywhere from a K through 12 education project, like, which is part of the silver lining of a Trump presidency. Like, because I watched a clip of him talk about, love him or hate him, he's still going to be the president. So you got to get in line, like, with at least some of the stuff. Otherwise, you're just going to be in for a horrible 4 years, and nobody needs it. Like, the number one killer in America is, like, heart problems, heart attacks, and bad diet and all that. And that's why I'm excited about RFK. Like, I mean, as far as like, addressing some of the health issues and why our life expectancy isn't on par with the rest of the world. It's like 78 to like they're 96 or 86 or something. Like it's noticeably lower in some studies that I saw. Dang, look at that. Even just that. I cleared the whole top row, and that's how many just we get on the pumpkins. Like, that's nice. All right. So, let's see how much we get on the melons. So, but anyways, explored a lot of things because for a while there I wanted to make software and websites for educational purpose, and I built a framework in just HTML, CSS, and some basic JavaScript that would allow you to click one of like 5 or 6 buttons, I think, and it would change the theme for the page. It would change the CSS for everything, like all the colors, all the elements, like they had different colors and they had different wording to where, or the HTML changed the wording to where it would be, so it's dynamic. So if I were to link something like a database up to it, I would be able to generate new buttons by copying that code basically, or yeah, I'm replicating it, like repeating all that good stuff. Let's see, yeah, almost 3 stacks, so not nearly as much. Actually, you can kind of even see it. It's like double over there, and then like just the 3 rows there. Oh, hold on. Oh. So yeah, and I've been doing YouTube stuff with Cypress Hill and Snoop Dogg. I did something bold. So, and actually let's go ahead and go to sleep, or well, let's trade, and then we'll go to sleep. Okay. I'm trying to feed my bee farm. So. Ooh, and actually this stuff, I'll take it. Okay. So, GTA all day, sucker. No. Wait, we go here. The fish. And actually, let's put the kelp in there too. We'll put the flowers in here. Actually, put all 3 of those things in there. Need another emeralds. Actually, let's just deposit all this stuff now. I healed up the axe, that's fine. Like, we did a harvest. What we really need to focus on is documenting the projects as they are. Because I did a bold thing. I commented on a Snoop Dogg post on XApp saying, hey, yo. Oh, so he was posting about a new song that he and Dre and a bunch of other people did. I think that was the collab one. I listened to quite a few songs, so I might be getting them confused. But either way, so, and actually, wait, that's why I had pretty much this whole chest was collecting wood for the sign making of the Joker Tower to find what we want. Each floor could be different. Like, all this. Could even grow trees over there so we can have a local supply. I know my son really likes the cherry blossom, and so do I too. Like it's really cool. Yeah, it's fun. You can have your masculinity and like pink or whatever. Like, I've always supported. That's an interesting thing about Buena Vista. We all kind of supported that. Like the gay thing, it was never really a thing up there. My music teacher in elementary school was a lesbian, and she was extremely happy and cheerful. It was like a Jim Carrey, only a female version, and she was awesome. And I thought my preacher was a lesbian at church, like growing up Methodist, like and learning, the good God's way of acting and treating each other with respect and kindness. Like it's why I do what I do. I mean, although granted, I was given the choice if I wanted to stop going once I hit high school, and I did because it was a major pain to go all the way down to Salida to church. Half hour there, half hour back. So there's an hour of your Sunday eating. It takes probably an hour, hour and a half to get ready. Like, or well, maybe not that, but like an hour at church. And it's like, come on. Like, I sit in class all week. I don't want to sit in another thing on the weekend. So. That's why I think they could like readjust it. I think they have too. They've started making it more entertaining. Almost not quite exactly as the what is that the Righteous Gemstones. My buddy had me watch that. We watched it on his HBO thing, but or it was like John Goodman, like the dangers of religion and how it could be such a money monopoly. And wait, what are we doing? We're doing some signs. We already have lecterns. So what else do we have all there? Yeah, I was gonna say I have some of this stuff, so let's focus it all. I mean, this is probably the most abundant. Oof, but if I start doing that, oh, let's see, do we have some dirt? Yes. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to. And then this, yeah, we'll see if we can get some single ones there, because it doesn't really matter. And then we could grow other trees. We do have some lumber, but then now we have like a grow area, and we can even like, oh wait, I want to make it only the size of the, so it's like floating gardens. I think that looks cooler. So, anyways, uh, so the projects like a capybara cafe. That's just I'm really just like sold on that. Like I think that needs to be a thing. Oh, it sounds so exciting. Marking. What? What is? I don't even know. I'll look those up sometime. But okay, we need some signs. We need chain. Let's see. Do we have iron? We have buckets. We have that. Okay, so that's only wood, and these are empty. I think. Yeah. Okay. So empty, miscellaneous, overflow for this. This is just water buckets and stuff. Let's put that in the wood. Actually, no. So those for decoration. These for functionality. These don't alter the ground, so they're not as bad. But this way we can get like a little bit more oak wood if needed. Have a small orchard here. So, okay, let's get that dirt. So basically, by commenting on Snoop Dogg's posts and saying, well, so part of the lyrics of the song snippet were, I grew up having breadcrumbs, and he's rapping about, and this is Snoop Dogg rapping about how he did so much with so little, and which is true. I mean, it's very commendable what a lot of these people do. Oh, look at that, bam. Um, with very little resources, for whatever reason. Most of the time, it's like, I want to say substance abuse, alcohol, or like of the family or like, and understandably so, like the situation, the added depression and hardships of just like being assumed that you're a gangbanger. I mean, especially if you are like banging, like, and you get pulled over, then you definitely need to be worried. And like, and the police officers talk, like law enforcement talk with each other. They know who's who and what's what, and like who does what. I mean, even in small towns, like I remember the police in BV, they knew a lot of what my buddies and I were doing all the time. And as long as we weren't doing anything like super illegal, they left us alone. Like, meth, heroin, all that stuff, like the sketchy stuff, even blow like that. Oof, they would bust you for that. But I mean, weed, they didn't care about. It was still like you still didn't make it their problem, and that's one thing that I don't like about some of the activists for cannabis. Like, they're just loud, offensive, in your face, and like it has to be a respectful transition of policy. Like, and it has more or less been, but there have been those ugly times where it's like, and people are, it's somewhat understandable that they're upset, angry that it's taken this long, for very common sense laws. Like, the fact that we even put people in jail and prison for this stuff in the first place is like ridiculous, like very shameful, very, you know, and we're fixing that. So, and I brought in that as well, like, um, how did I say it? Is like, check this out. I fit it in one post or one XApp post or one tweet, whatever you want to think of it as. So, because I do have the extended stuff, but when people, you have to want to read the extended stuff, and it can easily come off as offensive. Like, why are you sending me this really long comment? Just say what you want to say in a little blip and let me decide if I want to read it. Plus, that also increases the chances that Snoop Dogg will personally read it. And there's only about 50 or so comments on that post when I posted mine. And it's, again, somewhat short, even though I did fill up the majority of the actual post size for a regular post where you wouldn't have to pay for Twitter or XApp to. Sorry, no, I'm just going to call it XApp. I apologize if that offends you, but I don't mean it like that. Like, it's easier. XApp, that's what it is. Like, the dude paid a lot of money, and however you feel about Elon, he paid a lot of money for it. And I'm thinking, I want to send him a little golden trophy, like a little, like those little plastic, for thanks for the most paid taxes. Now, I am still a little cautious about Doge, and I do want to see people keep an eye on that and just keep some accountability, like make sure they're not cutting things like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, like anything that people need, like that's, it'd be messed up and for corporate greed. Oh, wait. Ah. Mm. Try to drink some water. My throat's so dry. Insane in the membrane. Oh, and I listened to so much Cypress back in the day. That was so cool. I get to talk to him, say, hey, thanks for this music. You guys are awesome. One of the shorts that they did like 2 weeks ago. So it's very relevant, very recent. I commented like, they were asking what your favorite munchie food was. And Cypress Hill or someone from, and see, I don't know their names, so I feel bad about that. I've just always known, I think it's like Be Real, Send Dog, I think was the dude that was just talking, and it was like in Australia. I'm horrible with names. And again, no disrespect. It's just, I've used a lot of cannabis in my day. No, and that's actually not the reason. I've always been like that. Like famous sports players, athletes. Like Snoop Dogg's easy. It's very unique, and he's always been known as Snoop Dogg. Like if Cypress Hill was doing, like each of the members did as many side quests as Snoop, like, be the show spokesperson for the Olympic Games, or like basically become a household name, even though he's still crip walking and gang banging, like just like corporate gang banging. And it's hilarious and it's awesome. It reminds me of Wu-Tang Financial, or Wu Financial with on the Chappelle Show. And again, Wu-Tang is like is my favorite hip hop group, favorite hands down. Like they are my favorite. I've seen them in concert. I was actually on probation, and there was blunts being passed around, and I had a UA the very next day. It's like, really, really. I passed though. I passed because I behaved. I did my time in the community. It's hilarious to me. Sorry. Anyways, but and if I were to ever get to hang out or even just talk to Cypress Hill and Snoop Dogg, like I don't need to see him or anything. I'm kind of an introvert, like, or if they ever want to go snowboarding or come out to Colorado and hang out, like that'd be cool. But again, we'd have to find time because I'm pretty busy and all that, and they are too. I mean, everybody's busy, but to meet a legend, and you got to worry about the hassle of like, because there are some dangerous folks in Colorado. Like one of my friends that I worked with, and well, yeah, we were pretty close, but her little brother got shot from like a gang thing, I think a Crip thing in Denver. So it's very real here. I mean, and I understand and respect like, well, the video Vato. I commented on another one like, check out Vato. Yeah, he's down with the Chicano community. I remember my buddies were like, the Latin Kings, pff, screw those guys. Like, like who made them king? And I don't feel that way now, of course. Like now it's just like I get it. I understand it more. It's like, oh, you banded together to fight against some problems that your community was facing and you were bored, poor, like, you needed stuff to do. And like I can relate to a lot of that on a lot of levels. Like, the CK did a lot of the same stuff and we worked on getting cannabis, a lot of cannabis. And not even us personally, but I mean, there's so many people. Like it's like Harry Potter and like, you know, like during the time when Voldemort is like taking over and the good witches and wizards are like hiding in secret. And it's like, it's been like that, you know, it's interesting. And then same with how they hide in the Muggle world too. Like they're covert. They have to pretend to be someone they're not, or hide or obscure large portions of their life or identity. Like I knew some people that were involved with like this entire house of. It was busted too. I mean, like people who went to prison might still be in prison. I need to look into that. Like I mean, because even if they weren't, like we're talking within my lifetime. So yes, that is a long time behind prison. Even like assuming worst case and they've been there the entire time, a payback or welcome back to the community. I mean, long overdue too. But hey, I'm only one person. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of us talking about all this stuff. And now Snoop Dogg might read it. Ooh, that's exciting. So, wait, what am I doing here? We got about 10 more minutes on this episode. We can do. I don't really want to talk about a lot of politics, just that I'm excited for. Oh, okay. The one thing I was talking about Trump with the university. Like, if there is free online learning provided, and all it really takes is access to internet, and I know Starlink's available up in PV. I don't think a lot else is still to this day. Like, I mean, when I was up there, it was dial up with the good old amigo.net. And and as much as people, it might seem offensive to Spanish speaking and Latin type people, but Buena Vista is Buena Vista, not because we're racist, just because a lot of people are uncomfortable with Spanish. That's the real gist of it. And then they're usually the older generations and all that. And so then the younger generations have to kind of like walk on eggshells for the older generations. The younger generations have never given one rip. In fact, we had Spanish class in our high school. I took it all 4 years. I went to Costa Rica and spoke Spanish with locals. Had a wonderful time. It was awesome. I was the tall, it wasn't gringo. They called me something else. I was like, and it was funny. And like, I almost kind of got into a fight with a couple of people. I was like, oh yeah. And like, stick my chin out, be like, all right, what's up then? I'm like, and then like, as much as our teachers said, don't get in trouble. Don't, if you go to jail, you're going to be in huge, major trouble. Like, possibly end the program. So we had to be on our best behavior. But I ain't about to be like that. Like someone disrespects you just so openly. I mean, they're jeering like, "Hey, what up, white boy? Hey, what up, American?" Like, it depends. Depends on how far they take it. You know, I did that in Denver too. Almost got into a fight with like 4 or 5 very dark-skinned fellows. They were saying "Hey, baby" to my girlfriend, who's half Jewish. Beautiful bombshell of like a lady. Phew. I was very defensive, and I was about to be a Marine, so I was all like ripped on a lot of like dangerous substances. Very aggressive, very confrontational. Um, yeah, not your average hippie. That's for sure. That is a shame too. One, two. Because I've always been kind-hearted and happier when I'm helping people. Never, I've been very slow to hurt people, and so I would be a bad gangbanger in a city because I just couldn't do it. I would rationalize and negotiate and work around things. I've lost thousands of dollars, not cared. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but you're gonna lose your life over it? Nah. So, and they'll come too, and they probably won't ever get that back to me, but they'll pay it forward. One way or the other, they will do good, and they'll be thinking about that, and they'll be like, all right, you know what? They'll balance the scales of their soul. So I don't need to worry about that. If you believe in souls, if not, then it's just more, it's kind of your ledger of your life. Whether you believe in an afterlife or not, it's best to have a clear conscience for people of this life. Especially if there isn't a afterlife, then what are you gonna do? You were just a prick to a bunch of people and made their one go miserable? Nah, come on. So, anyways. I also did that to Cottonmouth Kings too. I almost got aggressive with that. It was embarrassing in hindsight because I was not myself. I was under the influence and I was at the show um, of other things, not just alcohol and like not just cannabis. So it was a dark time, but experimental and explorative time too. I mean, like curiosity, especially when people realize that cannabis isn't harmful, like at all. And it's like so much danger. Like the Friday movies, that was all weed that they were selling. Like Smokey got into all that trouble with Big Worm, Big Perm. Like, I want to say, wasn't that Nate Dogg or no? Like, it definitely reminded me of Nate Dogg, who's one of my other favorite. I think he's part of the DPG. But yeah, Nate Dogg did a bunch of stuff with Snoop back in the day. And I got his album, or his CD, Music and Me. I think he died of pneumonia, I want to say, or something, but something that sounded possibly preventable. So I got to wonder, like, even with somebody with so much money, so many resources, just as complicated as our health system is, like, was it an accidental and preventable death? Like, that'd be horrible. I mean, like, and horrible for anyone, too, don't get me wrong. Like, but especially for a hip hop legend like that. And he had such a sultry, smooth voice, and like, oh man. Although the downside is like once you heard one song, you heard them all for like for that CD. Like I mean, they had their differences, sure, and then the messages were different. Like especially like the your woman has just been sighted. Ring the alarm. Ring the alarm. Your woman has just been sighted. Oh, ring the alarm. How'd she get in if she wasn't invited? Oh man, that was good. Just don't cheat. Ethical non-monogamy fixes that. Which I don't know. I don't know how any of my former companions would feel about that. I know how I feel about it, and I've had quite a bit of fun. Not a lot. I mean, that don't want to be misleading, but the idea of it. So we'll see. Sorry, I just went down a whole rabbit hole in my head. But oh, basically, so what else we're doing here while we're musing and rambling is we're looking for a geode. We need that geode, and that's amethyst filled, so the purple block. Mm, there we go. Ooh, that's glitchy. Excuse me. Oh, dry throat. Because it's a happy Friday. Oh yeah, and already like, mm. I'm trying to convince people in China to legalize cannabis and Russia too. Like, I feel like if that happened, that would be a slam dunk, Hail Mary, world peace in an instant, overnight. Well, maybe not overnight. It would probably take them a few weeks or months, maybe a year to fully realize like the potential of just that whole component of society, like legal cannabis. And capybara cafes, they already have that in like Japan and China. Whoa, that sounded interesting. There's some underwater stuff going on. Lots of iron. This is nice. Even though I have stacks and stacks of like blocks, even like I'm eventually going to be building several rails, specifically in the Nether. But we might want to have some railways here in the overworld too, for viewing pleasure. Like I want to do one of my buddies who I might invite to this realm. We don't really talk much anymore, but we used to play on the same realm back in the older videos, and he built a city or a town that's like suspended above, or it's not even suspended. It's just floating above this like. It's almost like a caldera, but there's like mountains on most, like three of the sides or so, or like 3/5 of the sides, basically. And then like waterways, so you can like, if you're on a boat, you can come in and out. And then water elevators, so if you were in the water below, which made it great for like jumping off, so you could like, launch off into like this huge free fall. Oh, it is just a beautiful place. And so, anyways, if you look at the map there, the heart, like within the heart, I want to put like some structures, maybe even an arrow, I don't know, but do some artistic like map art Oh, there's the alarm. So, anyways, that's good for now. I think I'm gonna try to make some signs, continue doing stuff off camera and whatnot. But I did want to just like come in and just make that update that as of today, I asked Snoop Dogg if he would ask his wealthy LA friends to invest in Hippie Farms. And then I shared a link to the Google Doc with the entire plan, which has a watermark of 719 Mr. Smuff, like a bunch of graffiti that like just drawing graffiti. I've never been big on spray paint. Like, well, one, it's illegal and, you got to be careful, but unless you ask permission, and two, you got to ask permission. That means talking to people, finding a place that's generally accepted, like people are okay, or like, well, they have to own it too if you're going to do it legally. So if you're gonna do it illegally, there's a whole bunch of mess of stuff that's just like a headache. So I don't know. That's why I like it in the video games because then it's no victims, no people are upset by it or damaged, affected, etc. So, and you don't get in trouble for it. That's the other big thing. You don't get reprimanded. So, anyways, happy Friday. I'll try to do some other stuff. No guarantees. It's been a pretty chill day. Might go back and listen to some more music and start commenting more. I got to be careful though. I don't want to seem like obsessive and psychotic, but like I don't know. Like the only way we used to be able to do that is write fan mail, and Eminem told us how he felt about all that with the Stan song and that music video. I'll never forget that. That was powerful. Like, he's trying to reply to all his fan mail. He's got tons of fans, people paying money for all of his stuff, and like the reason that he's so wealthy, but then also the stalkers, the negatives, like all the bad stuff about all that, and like the sad state of society, paparazzi and whatnot. So, anyways. Have a great Friday if I don't see you again. Ta ta. I'll see you in the next one.